You're missing out if you are not using virtual switches in your HomeKit smart home. Have you ever tried to create an automation to lock your doors when you leave home, just to be prompted to manually run the scene? If you're like me, you probably forget. I mean, who needs that extra manual step? This can be eliminated using a virtual or dummy switch. Maybe you've invested in some cool smart lights like nanoleaf lines or the light strip from Colo Lights, which are most impressive when using effects. You may not realize this, but yes, you can bring these scenes into HomeKit. But if you have multiple devices, do you really want to set 3 or 4 separate scenes to get the setup you want? No, you can get around this using a dummy switch. Do you have a favorite scene that you want to customize in the evening around the holidays with some festive lighting? The solution? Yep, a dummy switch. Let me tell you how this works. Today's video is sponsored by Ekster. Ekster is a series of slim and stylish wallets, bags, and cases that fit well into the Apple ecosystem. More on this shortly. Hello, I'm Lloyd, and welcome to my channel where I help you to build a better Apple smart home. If you're not using virtual plugs, then this video could be life-changing for you. It's so easy to do, but there are a few things that you need. Throughout the video, I'll be using the terms proxy and virtual and plugs and switches interchangeably, but generally they mean the same thing for the context of this video. The Home app isn't going to cut it for some of the topics I'll be discussing. You'll need a third-party app like the Eve app, Home Plus 5, or Controller for HomeKit. I use all three and they all work great, so it's totally up to you which one you want to use, though the Eve app is free, so probably a good choice for many. Next, you're gonna need either HomeBridge or some extra smart plugs. There's so many HomeKit smart plugs and the prices are actually quite low. Extra smart plugs will work just fine here, especially if you only need a few proxy switches, but an even better option is HomeBridge. I'm using Hoobs and there's a dummy plugin that you can install that will give you access to as many switches as you need. So if you think you'll need a lot of switches, then this is probably the best option. It's also nice to avoid congestion in your home from unnecessary Wi-Fi devices. So whether you're using physical smart plugs or the dummy switch plugin, the concept is the same. It's not a real switch that you're gonna plug anything into, but you can assign it to an action in HomeKit. Let's start with my first example, using your current location to lock your doors. The problem is that secure devices like doors require manual confirmation in order to run. So it's a nice feature, but it doesn't happen automatically. If you're like me, you have a goodbye or an I'm leaving scene that will turn off lights in various devices and lock all the doors. With a quick automation in the Home app, you can set the scene to run when the last person leaves the house. Speaking of leaving the house, let's take a quick break and talk about Ekster, the sponsor of today's video. Ekster has a variety of wallets and I've been obsessed with this quick card access. I've been looking for a super slim solution. I'm a wallet minimalist, but I do need a few cards with me. Losing your wallet is such a huge headache. Use an AirTag or purchase a solar-powered tracker. Put it in the sun for 2 to 3 hours for 3 months of charge. Easily locate your wallet with Siri shortcuts or the Chapolo app, or add this slim and stylish laptop sleeve that fits my 13-inch MacBook Pro, charger, mouse, pen, and even a Chapolo tracker for peace of mind. Ekster has so much to offer and I'm impressed. No more bulky wallets or fumbling at the cash. I love having a smart, super slim AirTag wallet. Get 20% off until August 23rd on their summer sale using the link and promo code in the description. Thank you, Ekster, for supporting my channel. Okay, let's get back to locking the doors automatically when we leave the house. To do this, we're actually gonna use a smart plug since this won't require any manual intervention. I'm gonna set up this SwitchBot smart plug to lock the doors once it turns on. Now all I have to do is include the smart plug into my goodbye scene, which I have set to trigger once I leave the house. Easy. You can just as easily do this for unlocking your doors as well, though this is something that I would personally be careful about. Locking doors is one thing, but I'm not sure I want to unlock my doors unless I'm absolutely sure I'm home. You could, however, use an NFC tag that works in the same way. Mount it someplace outside and create a scene that turns on a smart plug that unlocks the doors. Since it works as a personal shortcut, it means that each user of the house will need to program the NFC tag to their iPhone, but it also ensures that your home stays secure. With each of these cases, you do need to make sure that you're turning the switch off so the automation's able to work the next time you need it. When creating the automation that turns the smart plug on, you can just set it to turn off a minute later. Another option is using that dummy switch in HomeBridge. Let's take a look at that now. I'm using Hoobs, which is a user-friendly way of installing and configuring HomeKit plugins. Look for the dummy plugin and install it. This will install the bridge, And then you can configure the plugin, which is where you can add each of your dummy switches. You can add as many dummy switches as you want to each bridge, though I've installed several bridges to help keep my setup organized. Hit the plus sign to add a new switch, and then name it something meaningful. By default, the switch will automatically turn off after 1 second or 1000 milliseconds. If you want to adjust the time it takes to turn off, then you can do so, like turning it to 5 seconds. This is an advantage of using a dummy switch in Homebridge, though you're not always going to want your switch to turn off right away. Sometimes you're going to want to keep it on for the full day so it can be used as a condition for other scenes and automations. I'll talk about that soon. All you need to do to avoid the switch turning off is clicking stateful. Once you've added your switch, then you can either hit the plus sign to add more or hit save. To add this to HomeKit, go to your bridge to get your HomeKit code, and then add this to HomeKit just like you would any other accessory. Now you have a virtual switch that you can use to automatically lock your doors when you leave the house, and it'll turn off automatically so it's ready to be used the next time you need it. Now let's talk about how to use this same concept to set effects. Moving effects from a manufacturer app into HomeKit is often possible. In the Onvis app, for example, there's an option right on the effects screen to create a HomeKit scene. From the Colo Lights app, you can click the 3 dots in the top right of the screen and select Sync HomeKit. And in the Nanoleaf app, enabling Cloud Sync will bring your scenes into HomeKit. Once you have the scenes in HomeKit, then you can assign a smart plug or dummy switch to activate that scene. For example, I have a Hoobs dummy bridge for my Nanoleaf elements, and I have a dummy switch that turns on some of my favorite scenes like Bloom, Calming Waterfall, Clouds, and Ember. I've done the same thing for my Onvis light strip, my Nanoleaf lines, and my Colo Light light strip, and hexagons. I now include effects from all of these lights in my existing basement chill and theater scenes simply by including the associated smart plug into those scenes. Investing in a few minutes for the upfront setup is worth it so you can use the effects right in HomeKit. Finally, let's talk about conditions. To this point, we haven't needed a third-party home app, but for conditions, you will. Instead of saying when something happens, like motion being triggered, then do this, like lights turning on. Adding a condition is like an unless statement. For example, if the Eve door and window sensor changes to closed, turn my lights turquoise unless my dummy Halloween switch is turned on. I've mentioned my kitchen pantry in past videos. I have an automation that turns my Philips Hue lights to 100% when open. When closed during the day, the lights turn off, and when closed in the evening, the lights turn turquoise. The colored light that shines through the obscured glass provides nice accent lighting. I find turquoise is just a cool chill scene for the evening, but we can get festive by using some colored holiday scenes. You can see I've named several holiday scenes including Halloween, Christmas, and a few others. First, I need to edit my door closed after sunset automation and add some conditions. I'm using Home Plus 5 to do this. Now I'm going to add a condition for each of my holiday lights. Now my pantry lights will only turn turquoise in the evening when closed if all my holiday switches are off. Then you need to create a scene and automation for each holiday. Here's a basic Halloween scene that will turn my lights orange. This time when I create the automation, I'm only going to use the condition when my dummy Halloween switch is turned on. Do this for as many holidays as you want. Now you just need to turn on your holiday switches when you're ready for some festive lighting. For example, I activate my Christmas switch mid-November and I leave it turned on until around New Year's Day. Once I turn this switch off, my pantry lights revert to turquoise in the evening. Another example I like to use is my evening scene. I have lights turn on gradually in 15-minute increments as sunset approaches, but sometimes I like to set my own scenes manually, like my chill time or showtime scenes. Without conditions, my evening scenes could override my showtime scene, which would be super annoying. Instead, I have a dummy switch called Evening Condition, which turns on when my chill time and showtime scenes are activated. All 5 of my evening scenes include a condition only when the evening condition is off. This prevents these time-based automations from triggering when I don't want them to. For these types of condition-based proxy switches, you typically want these switches to stay on for the day, so if you're using Hoobs, then make sure you're selecting statefuls so it doesn't turn off automatically. I have a good night scene that locks my doors and turns my lights off when I'm ready to go to bed, so I have my dummy switches turn off here as well. So yes, this does require some work to set up, but it's pretty easy to do and it can really elevate your HomeKit setup. Hopefully these tips have helped you. There are some other ways of accomplishing some of what I've talked about today, including using Siri shortcuts or manipulating your scenes to trigger other scenes or effects without using virtual smart plugs or switches. but what I've shared today is what I use and what I find to be the easiest and most reliable. I will have affiliate links in the description if you want to pick up Hoobs, as well as some of my recommended HomeKit smart plugs. I encourage you to share your ideas and experiences in the comments, and if this video was helpful, then please give it a thumbs up. Thanks again to Ekster for sponsoring this video. Don't forget to check out the details in the description and follow me on social media for updates. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you soon.